Hello, everybody. My name is Blair Hadley, and today I am here to tell you why the ability to time travel is a better superpower than the ability to read people's minds. I know that sometimes talking about superpowers can get a little bit tricky when you're thinking of what particularly falls under the category of a superpower. For example, with reading people's minds, you wonder, can they control their minds? Can they read their whole minds, including their subconscious and their memories, or is it just their thoughts as they're happening? And so, for the purposes of this argument, I'm going to say that it's just you're reading their thoughts as they're happening. There was nothing else listed in the assignment, so I'm assuming that's what she meant. Also, with time traveling, I'm assuming that it's just literally traveling back in time where you are, not necessarily different places, but just through time. The first reason time traveling is better is there is a lot more knowledge to be gained with time traveling than there is to be reading people's minds. That can get kind of tricky when you're saying, well, if you're reading people's minds, you know everything that they know. Not necessarily true. They don't necessarily know everything correctly. For example, if you ask somebody what happened in the Battle of, I don't know, so and so in 1850, they could tell you what they think happened that they read in a history book, but you, as the ability with the ability to time travel, can actually go back and watch the battle unfold, and you know what happens for a fact, not somebody's necessarily incorrect retelling. This can also apply to more recent things. If you're asking somebody a story, something that they did maybe a month ago, they could try and tell you, and they could maybe lie about the story. You could even try and read their minds, but they could not necessarily remember the story correctly. Instead of doing all of that, you could just go back in time and watch the story unfold itself. You know everything that happened because you were there to witness it. You are gathering the information for yourself. It's unbiased, the memory's not changed. You are there, you're seeing it unfold before your eyes. You really cannot be fooled with time traveling, whereas with mind reading you can. Assuming that they're even thinking about what you want them to think about. There's in the Twilight Saga books by Stephenie Meyer, in one of the books, Edward Cullen, the protagonist, has the ability to read minds. He's trying to read his sister's mind. She knows this, and so she's just sitting there thinking about some Latin book and going through that, so she won't think about what he wants her to. If people know you can read their mind and they're doing that, you're kind of screwed. You can't really do anything. But if you can time travel, it doesn't matter what people are thinking because you know what's happening and you know what they're talking about. Beyond that, it's just there's so much knowledge to be gained regardless. You can go back and you can see so many things happen. There's really no door that's left closed to you. You can see anything happening. You can see the creation of the universe if you want. Reading people's minds most certainly will not do that for you. You can go see the dinosaurs. You can go in the future and see what's going to happen in 500 years and a million years. Who knows? You can even win the lottery. You can go in the future, get next week's lottery numbers, and you can become a millionaire. Cannot do that with reading minds because that's random. Nobody knows what the lottery numbers are going to be until they're already pulled. Beyond that, there's also just the amazing adventures and experiences that you will have with with time traveling. You can go back and go to a ball in the 1700s and a masquerade, go to Marie Antoinette's ball or something. You can go on a ship on an adventure to the New World. Mind reading, you can't do any of that. You really can't. You're just listening to people's thoughts as they're happening. And while you can get some cool secrets out of that, it's nothing really that time traveling can get you one way or the other. Another thing that's better with time traveling is that you have the ability to change events. You can change them to bend to your will. Mind reading, you can kind of influence things that are going to happen because you can read people's minds. You think you can, at least. You can tell people, hey, I know this person's thinking of this, they're going to plot this, they're going to do something in a couple of days' time, we need to stop it. Maybe that'll work, maybe it won't, maybe their plans are changed, who knows. But with time traveling, something will happen, you can go back, you know what's happened, or what's going to happen, when it's going to happen. You go back and you change it, and you make sure that it doesn't happen. An example of this I can give you is Professor Xavier in the X-Men movies. He has the ability to read minds. Granted, his abilities are more than just reading minds. He can control thoughts and actions, and he can even just freeze people in their place. But he can't time travel, and he's paralyzed because he was shot in the back. Mind reading is great. That doesn't change the fact that he was shot in the back, so he can't walk now. If he could time travel, he could go back in time and make sure that he wasn't shot in the back, get out of the way of that bullet, and then he had the ability to walk the rest of his life. I think he would choose that over being able to read people's minds. I know I most certainly would. It's just there's so many things you could do with time traveling. Doors are literally unlimited. Mind reading is very, very limited power. It's something that you can do really just by watching people's body signals already. You can figure out what they're thinking. With time traveling, that's almost a godlike ability. You have the universe to bend to your will, really. And that is why I think time traveling is a better power.